Today we're back with Kory, and he has another update to his Deskbot deck for post-link format.
As Todd just said, yep, I kind of was forced to. I mean, they're mainly a main deck base now, but with the extra deck as kind of a tech. There's not really much to say. Let's just get into the deck profile. Alright, to start you off, you only need one Deskbot 1. He's your tuner, he can special summon himself back, he's good at gaining attack. He works pretty well. 2 of them I found you really don't want. You kind of don't want to see this in your hand all too often. You kind of want to send it off a 4 or Foolish and then special summon it back later for a Cheerio Beast or something like that. Next is your main one of your main searchers. Whenever this guy's special summoned, you get to add a Deskbot card from deck to hand, and he boosts all of the machine type monsters you have besides himself for an extra 500 attack defense. Of course, once again, you really don't want to see this guy for hand because he only gets this effect when he's special summoned, which is where the next guy comes in. Deskbot 3, running 3 of him because he can, on a single normal summon, he can literally search any Deskbot monster in your deck, special summon him. Usually you'll normal summon 3, special summon out 2, and then search for what you need, whether it be it a pendulum scale or a monster you want to pendulum summon or just set up for next turn, or hell, even your base. Next card I run, 3 004s. This is one of your main monster revivals. He destroys Sun, you get a special summon 2 from hand and or grave with different names, or different levels. Well, they all have different names, doesn't matter anyways, but he's pretty much the one that if you open him in your opening hand, you can just normally play him and sit on him for a turn or 2 if you really have to. He's 2, 3, and 4 are basically the MVPs of this deck. You want to always see a 3 or 4 in your hand on your opening turn. My last 3 for monsters is I run 3 005s. He is an MST on summon. You use him to go into Cyber Dragon Infinity. And, well, you really don't have very many Deskbot monsters face up in your extra deck with how I play it, so his attack boost isn't really all too helpful. He's really only a stepping stone to go into Infinity and just to pop some spell and traps on the field. Alright. Next, I run 2 1s. These guys combo off well with Infinity. He works pretty well for his attack boosts, and oh yeah, when he's destroyed from Pendulum Scale, adds 1 Deskbot card from your deck to your hand, and when he's destroyed in Pendulum Scale, adds 1. I know, he's specials, he adds 1. So I guess it's good for some monster recovery and monster revival. That's why I kind of run it at 2. That and it's a 1 scale with a 10 scale. My scales are a little unbalanced. There's 1 extra 10 scale and there is a 1 scale, but you really only want 1 5 in a scale, then the other 2 you want to be special summoning anyway, so that doesn't really mean much. Next, I run 2 007s. They got some... Late game, this card goes insane. You can just summon him right off the bat, and he's instantly a 4,000 attacker with piercing. That your opponent can only attack him. It's glorious. He's a 10 scale, so of course it's helpful. And you can also use them to go into Big Eye or any other rank 7 you want to go into. I just chose Big Eye because the rage on your opponent's face when you steal their strong monsters is just glorious. Or even their link monsters, even better. Next, I run 2 008s. Same thing as 7. She gets a massive attack boost. She's a scale 1, and she can actually attack 2 of your opponent's monsters during each battle phase, so... And there's a soft lock with both 7 and 8. If you can manage to get 2 7s and 2 8s on the field, your opponent can't target anything with card effects, and they can't attack any Deskbot monsters. So, it's just Deskbot protection, so I usually just run 2 for the soft lock of a maybe, or... rank 8 XYZ. And then the last Deskbot monster I run is, of course, your big bad boss monster, 009. He's got a nice effect where pretty much your opponent can activate anything when he attacks. He can boost his attack by all Deskbot monsters on the field minus himself. And if he would be destroyed, you can destroy another Deskbot, which can A, clear up your field, and B, keep give you some board presence at the same time while keeping them on the field. That, and the best part about his attack gain is it stays to the end of your opponent's turn. And I run 2 non-Deskbot monsters, that being Maxi, Draw Power, and Ghost Ogre. I have an Ash Blossom. I chose to run Ghost Ogre though because it's a bit better in my opinion. Your opponent wants to use it Trident, so you can just kind of pop it right off the bat, and if they have a, which rarely ever happens, but if they have a Masterpiece that's not immune to monsters, which like I said, rarely ever happens, this could also pop that as well. Well, Ash Blossom really only stops a single search, which, don't get me wrong, it's great, but I'd rather clear their field than stop a search. Alright, so that's it for monsters. Get back here too. On to spells. I run 3 base. It's your main shuffle card. It gives your Deskbot monsters an extra 500 attack boost, which when comboed with 003 can also boost him up twice as much. Go away, Fly. Go away. You okay? No, sorry. Is the main reason for it is just the shuffle effect, which, hey, unbricking your hands is always a beautiful thing. It's a magical mallet that stays on the field for every turn. Alright, next I run 2 terraforming. Mainly because if I have a base on field, I draw into a terraforming, I can bring out another base, shuffle it in for a free draw. So it's, yeah, just a free draw in your hand, which makes your deck 1 less, so it just works a little bit better in my opinion. Used to have this at 3, downed it to 2 for a couple other cards in here. And I run 2 Machine Duplication. I wish I could still run this at 3. It was great at 3, but with Mrs. Radiant, it's not as helpful anymore. You really only want to see in the beginning of the game, and then late game it kind of starts hurting you a little bit. And the last 2 of would be MSTs. You got 005 for the MST effect, and now you got MST for MST. Alright, off to the 1-ofs. 1 limiter removal. This card has let me go for game numerous times. It's beautiful. 1 Foolish Burial to send your 001 to grave. Soul Charge, best revival we have had in a long time, seeing as how Monster Reborn's still banned. 1 Raigeki. I was running Reasoning, but if I can clear my opponent's board and then attack for game, sometimes that's a little bit better than getting board presence. It's usually better mid to late game, unless it's like turn 3 and your opponent's already got a full board, then top deck this and your opponent gets just a little bit salty. And then the last spell I run is 1 Upstart Goblin. Makes you run a 39 card deck, and that extra 1,000 points they get, they won't be keeping for very long. These are OTK machines, and they're called that for a reason. Now on to traps. I run 1 Solemn Warning. You can only run 1, it's limited for a reason. But of course I run the rest of the brigade too and run 2 Solemn Strikes. I mean, hey, negating your opponent's special summons is always beautiful things, and you also got some monster effect negation as well, which is beautiful. Speaking of monster effect negation, 1 Breakthrough. I find it better than Effect Veiler because it can be used a second time. And if you're going second, and if you're going first, it doesn't really matter. You set this and then let your opponent do whatever the hell they want. Alright, so that's it for the main deck, and now off to the extra deck. Run 1 Turia Beast. The entire deck is Earth based, so why wouldn't you run the free spell negates? I went up against BLS Blue Eyes Chaos Max deck the other day, and the moment I summoned this, they literally had no outs, so it was just pretty much game the moment this thing touched board. Next I run 1 Naturia Barkion. Ghost Rare. Best rarity. Good for negating traps. And, well, the only bad part about it is you gotta send 2 cards from your deck to your graveyard. So, and it's just milling them. So it kind of hurts a little bit, but at the same time, it's worth it. I run 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Once again, good for negates. It just kind of helps protect your higher level monsters. I've been thinking about switching out for something else. I just don't know what yet. On to the level 8s. I run 1 Psyframe Lord Omega. I pulled this card out of a $4 card pack back when the card was about $80, and now it's down to like $8. Last I checked. It's been a while. And same goes for Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. Of course, I got this one out of the Mega Pack, so it wasn't as valuable, but at the same time, my father got me a Ghost Rare version of it out of a card pack. I gave that to a friend of mine. If you're watching this, Colton, you're welcome. And last Synchro Monster I run is Deskbot Jet, which, in all honesty, the only reason I had this in here before Link format was because it was just really there because it's a Deskbot deck just to have the option. But now that I'm in Link format, this card is incredibly powerful. You get your full field of regular Deskbot monsters, you get your scales, and then you get your base on the field. And this card gains 500 attack and defense for each Deskbot card on the field plus itself. So if you have a bunch of like 2s on the field, you got your scales and everything, this card just sits pretty as a huge beat stick, and it helps you unclog your field as well with its effects of being able to destroy one Deskbot and special summoning another. And you could also destroy something your opponent has on the field by destroying a Deskbot card. Alright. On to the XYZs. Castel. If you have the ability to run a rank 4 XYZ, you usually want to run at least 1 Castel. Gear Gigant. Some monster recovery from the grave. Bring back a 3 if it's in the grave. Bring back the 4 you used to make it. And it just helps you set up for next play. Of course, as I said earlier, Cyber Dragon Nova and Cyber Dragon Infinity. 2 cards that have to be run together if you're running them, and since you're running level 5 machines, you're gonna want to be running them. I mean, who doesn't love stealing your opponent's monsters and putting out free negates? I know Todd doesn't like it when I do it. On to the rank 7, I run 1 Big Eye, because once again, I find it funny to steal my opponent's monsters and use them to kill them with. It makes my day, it really does. Rank 8, I run Hope Harbinger Titanic Galaxy. No, Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, excuse me. Just spell negation, and it can become a pretty good beat stick, which, hey, you have an engraved, you soul charge it, you still got the free negate off of it, so why not? Because it doesn't need the XYZ from the negate. XYZ material from the negate. And then on to the newer extra deck monsters, which I'm actually quite enjoying, to be completely honest. Run 2 Mrs. Radiant. The entire deck is Earth. You don't need to run Gofu. That's the reason why this is so beautiful. Gives all your Deskbot gives all Earth monsters 500 attack and defense, and Wind monsters lose 400 attack and defense, which I don't really know very many decks that survived into Link era that are Wind. I mean, I'm guessing the comments are going to prove me wrong on that. I really don't doubt that, but I haven't faced any recently, so that's all I'm going to say on the matter. And then last but not least, Decode Talker. I would run the 3rd Mrs. Radiant, but sometimes being able to clear your field of just 1 more monster is all you really need to make your plays go absolutely insane. And I've only summoned him once. I'm usually summoning Radiance. Last time I summoned Mrs. Radiance, I had managed to pull off a combo where I got out Radiance, Cyber Dragon Infinity, and then Naturia Beast all on the same turn, and just smiled at my opponent, and he just kind of forfeited the game. It kind of made me sad because I wanted to kill him, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have on this deck. If you enjoy OTK-based style decks that swarm the field at the same time, this deck will probably be one for you. They're pretty cheap to pick up. If you just pick up the main deck, which is, once again, all you really need, it's not too expensive at all. And if you want to pick up the extra deck too, the entire extra deck is just tech cards, so you can pretty much make this deck however you want to. As always, this is how I built the deck. I encourage you all to find a way that you feel comfortable with the deck and then build it yourself. Of course, you can copy my exact profile, I don't mind, but just have fun with it. Anyways, guys, have a good day.
Thank you, Kory.